Perfect time to bring in National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar with us. Michael, thank you for joining us both today. Always good to have you on. Tell us your thoughts. I mean, the state is really putting it all out there and going pretty deep on, I'm a little surprised with all of the casting out evil Lori believed in, and that she believed Charles was possessed by a spirit and was now Ned. What are your thoughts?
I mean, this is their playbook from the first trial. They want to show several things, that Lori had henchmen, right? And they want to show you why she had henchmen, how she deployed them. And unlike other people, she wouldn't use her henchmen to go buy groceries. She would use them. Eventually, they'll show you she used them to commit murder, right? So they're showing you a shift in her. You know, this is not the person who was the beauty queen, I think, in Texas. This is a person who's completely changed. Her friends are changed. Her beliefs are changed. And so they are beginning the momentum to show you that she's a crazy person. And this is why she used one of her henchmen, her brother, to commit murder. So this is all in line with the brand that she put out there, and the brand that they want to take the brand that she has, and they want to show it to the jury, and they want them to know this is her brand, and this is why it makes sense that she did X, Y, Z.
Yeah, you know, if I'm the prosecutor, I'm looking at this case, Mike, and I'm seeing it in two parts. I'm saying one part is to show the crazy, right, which is what they're doing with this witness, and then you have to show the connection to Alex, right? So with this type of witness, she can provide the crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what she's doing. She's framing the momentum for the prosecution that this is what Lori Vallow is. This is what she does. Everything is in line with what a closing argument would look like, right? In the closing argument, that's what they want to do. They want to connect her craziness and her crazy actions with the murder and the conspiracy. To do that, their direct testimony, the witnesses they bring on has to all service the eventual closing argument. And they're doing a good job.
Weigh in on this. Do you have any concerns that the jury is watching Lori Daybell try this case, cross-examine these witnesses, and making little remarks and responses and retorts? Does that weigh against her negatively, do you think?
Absolutely. When I was watching the direct examination, the prior segment, it reminded me of the first mock trial I watched in law school, where a defense attorney named Tom Cranmer examined a special agent at the FBI, and he really hammered him on direct, right? He was asking outrageously leading questions. And then at the end, he said, kids, you can't get away with this in a courtroom because that was very unprofessional. I was just having fun with my friend. And that's exactly what it looked like. In the prior block, the state was just completely having their way, and Lori Vallow is not equipped to defend herself, to cross-examine courtroom behavior. She's absolutely out of her depth here.
And Mike, as a defense attorney, listening to all these leading questions is like nails on a chalkboard. I mean, oh my God, it's just like they're basically testifying. What do you make of it, and should someone step in?
Yes.
No, you know what? That's exactly what I was thinking about. It brought me back to my first mock trial when I thought it was serious. I thought it was watching the way it's done in the courtroom. And then Tom Cranmer took us aside and said, kids, you can't get away with any of this stuff. Don't do any of this stuff. I was just having fun. And so, no, you cannot. This is really bad for Lori Daybell. I don't see how she stops the momentum.
And I just, what could a judge do? We talked about that. And maybe the judge could do a sidebar and say, listen, state, stop it. But what were you going to say,
I was going to
Michael?
say, she's got another attorney there who's advising her. Why isn't she in her ear saying, look, you can't let them ask those types of questions, object?
And I wonder, does the attorney offer that kind of free advice, so to speak, or does Lori have to address them if she wants their help? I don't know the answer to that. All right, we need to step aside.
You know what? Let's bring back in our guest, National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar. Michael, I like what she's doing here. And I think the judge did the right thing. He's given her a little bit of latitude. But at the end of the day, if you're going to claim that all these claims are being translated are odd and weird, she has a right to show that maybe it's not so odd and weird.
Man, I was thinking the same exact thing. That was super awkward, but super effective. I was actually impressed because, and by the way, that last objection that was sustained by the prosecutor actually kind of helped her because she had already answered the question that it's possible somebody else said it. And then Lori Daybell asked it again. And she could have came back and said, no, actually, I remembered it was you. So that kind of helped her. But yeah, that was effective. That was pretty good. I was impressed. I mean, she broke down the credibility of that witness in terms of what that witness was brought to do. And kudos to her. Who would have thought it?
I think the answer to the objection clarified things more than the actual cross-examination questions. So that leads to my next question. The state is doing things like asked and answered, asked and answered. Should they be a little more lenient and forgiving? And is it necessary? Are they being petty, or do you think it's important for the record, Mike?
Yeah, the way she levied that last objection, asked and answered for the third time, it was a little bit disrespectful to the court, to the judge, because the judge is in a very difficult spot. When you have a pro se, you ask a judge off the record when he knows or she knows no one's listening. You ask them, what's your biggest pet peeve? They say it's a litigant that's defending themselves. In any facet, criminal law, civil law, it is so bad for the system. It's like taking a monkey wrench into a machine and just grinds it to a halt. So the judge was being very kind to her, but yes, the state is being a little bit abrasive, both towards Lori Daybell and the court. So I do agree with that.
Mike, it seems like there's a little bit of a kernel of a defense sort of taking shape here, and this idea that she's trying to show that, you know, my thoughts, my beliefs that are trying to be painted as crazy aren't really so crazy. And if I can get this jury to believe that they're not that crazy, then why would I go and tell someone to kill this guy? I'm beginning to see something form there. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm seeing. That's exactly why I like it, because at the end of the day, look, it's a big stretch for me believing what millions and millions of people believe than to tell my brother to murder my husband, right? It's a big stretch. And so what evidence do you have that I talked about zombies? Well, I broke down the credibility of this witness who said maybe it was somebody else. And by the way, I've only met her one-on-one twice in her entire life. And here she's testifying as though she knows me and knows what's in my heart. So, yeah, I agree with you, Michael.
Yeah, this is just so interesting to see how all this is unfolding.
And watching her grow as a pro se defender.
Right, she is. Yeah. All right.